Hey, it's Matricity. Welcome to my Matrix. Let me tell you something. This is a story that happened many years ago when my daughter she was in elementary school. I can't remember if it was first grade, second grade. Anyway, she was a child who loved to throw tantrums. And I'll never forget the time that she fell out in the mall and literally did a barrel roll from the start of Dillard's all the way halfway down. And I just looked. Well, anyway, one of the things she decided to do was she was going to decide to leave home because she was going to run away. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a learning experience. Runaway child. Okay, here we go. So she was going to get her stuff and run away. And I said, okay, are you very unhappy here? Yes, Mommy, I'm very unhappy here. And I said, where are you going to go? I'm going to go live with Grandma. I was like, okay, well, since you're running away, let's get your suitcase. So we went to her room and she went to her closet and pulled out her Sleeping Beauty suitcase. I was a Disney mom, worked for Disney for 10 years, so the child had everything Disney. She pulls out her Disney suitcase and starts to proceed to pack some things. And she's putting random things in. I said, well, don't forget, you need underwear and you need shoes and you need some pajamas. And so she got those things together and zipped everything up and said she was ready to go. And I said, okay. I said, so how are you going to get to this house? She said, I'm going to walk. I was like, okay, well, let me take you to the door. And I walked her downstairs to the front door. And I told her, I said, remember all the things I've ever told you about stranger danger and being alone. Just be very careful. And we go to the same way to Nana's house all the time. So, you could probably remember how to get there, but it's going to be a long walk. And I wish you well. So what I did was she literally opened the door herself. She was so mad and went out on the front stoop and shut the door. So I could see the front stoop from a side window. So I went to the side window and watched because there was no way I was going to let my first year begin to walk away from the house. So I watched her and she just stood there and she looked around and she looked around. I think she was thinking about the situation and she stood there. And she stood there and she stood there. And I thought, okay, what's she thinking? What's she thinking? She's probably thinking, maybe I can't get to Grandma's house. I don't know. Well, anyway, she stood there for quite some time. And I was waiting because if she really was going to take 1 foot step off the stoop, I was going to have to go after her, of course. So then she put the suitcase down. The whole time she had her suitcase, she had a doll in her hand. And so she put the suitcase down, but she was still holding the doll. And she decided to look back at the door. And I thought, okay, she's really thinking whether or not she really should go. All right, I'm running out of time. So here's the part 2 coming up right soon. So she's on the steps and she's looking at the door. And after a few minutes, and of course, I'm still at the side window watching, she knocks on the door very gently. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a teachable moment. I'm not going to open the door right away. So I didn't open the door. So then she knocks a little harder. And I didn't open the door. And so then she begins to cry on the front stoop. And she's crying on the front stoop and she's holding her suitcase. She picked it up again and she's got her doll and she's crying her eyes out and she's knocking on the door. And I says, you know what? I'm not opening the door. So I just stay in the side window and I watch. And I let her cry for like maybe 5 minutes or so. And then she's continuing to knock on the door from time to time. So actually I go down and I open the door. And I looked really surprised and I said, child of mine, what are you doing here? You haven't left yet? You haven't started your journey to Grandma's house? She's sobbing her eyes out. No, she hasn't left. And I says, well, you said you were running away. I said, so you didn't want to live here anymore. I said, so what's the situation? You want to live here now? I mean, what? What do you want to do? So she begins to sob and in between tears tell me that she's very sorry. She realized that she was acting out and she wanted to go to her room. And I said, listen, little child of mine. I said, we're not going to have this behavior anymore. I said, this is where you live, but you're not going to be running away. We aren't having that because there's dangers out there. You can disappear, the whole 9 yards. Stranger danger is very real. I said, if you're unhappy, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. And, the thing that she was having a tantrum about that day was because, I don't even know. It was something silly. Like I didn't let her watch a movie or something. It was something really, really silly that, of course, she's going to get all in a tizzy about. And I says, we will talk about things in this household, but we're not going to be running away. We're not going to be opening the doors, leaving the unit at all, leaving the house at all to ever go, because that's not good. And so she understood that. And, with her, with my children, I use time out, never spankings. We use time out. So that was the thing. And it got to the point where, when she knew she did something bad, she was like, Mommy, I need to go to timeout, right? And she knew she'd done something wrong. So, my way of disciplining her was to use timeout and try to factor in teachable moments. If you're going to run away, I'll help you pack. So the next time your child decides to run away, help them pack, because you will have a teaching moment, a lesson that they can learn about the value of talking it out, not running away, and really controlling their emotions. So the next time your child says they want to run away, help them pack, but then keep your eye on them. Well, it was very important to me not to do the same things my parents did, as far as childcare and raising. As a parent, you have to make your own choice about what is right and what's going to work for you and your family. And I did. So that's why timeout really worked for us, because I really put effort into it. You can't just start it with a set amount of time. You have to set on a time based on the age. Like if they're, very young, small increments of time, and as they get older, increase those things based on what they've done. So timeout was very important, and it really made a difference. And so that's why that worked well for us in talking. And it got to the point, as I said before, where she knew she did something wrong. She's like, Mommy, this is what I did. Good, I got to go to timeout, right? It's like, yeah, you go up there and you sit in your room for 10 minutes based on what you did. So she had lessons, and she learned the lessons, and it wasn't like she was just purposely doing things and then I'll just do it and go to timeout. She really knew and thought about things and what was right and what was wrong, and knew that if she'd messed up, that she was going to be going to timeout. So it worked well. And I think in today's world, it's different than what it was when I was little, and as far as how I was raised. And it certainly is as far as society. The beat downs that you might have gotten from your parents back then don't work today, because people will be calling DSS on you and your child might be taken away. So those things don't work. So you really have to look at alternative methods based on what's happening now and what's going to work for your family. So those are like my words of wisdom of motherhood and parenting for the day. To really take time and look at your emotions, especially your children. Look at the emotions, how you can help them, harness them, and really put in better solutions than acting out, than being angry. Yes, be angry, but then direct it the right way. Talk about it. See what can be done differently, how you could act differently, how they could act differently, because all those things make a difference when they grow up to be an adult later on, as far as how they problem solve, whether it be in their own personal relationships or even with their friends or actually on the job. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.